Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us. So good morning, everybody, and thank you for allowing us to be here, and thank you for putting on your listening ears this morning. The NCworks Career Center is what Mr. Kish just referred to, happens to be located right here in this building, just beyond the reception area of student services. Once you go down that little hall, we're there. Right there in the lobby. When you walk in, you'll actually be walking into the NCworks Career Center. We have an employability lab there, and we're there Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on Friday. And because of COVID, we too have to comply with the distancing protocol, so we don't allow no more than 3 people in the lab at once. I think I've given you my card that has our phone number, my number specifically. You give a call, you know you want to come by and get some additional help with what you're going to hear Kelly talked to you about this morning. Please just give me a call and we'll be happy to accept you, okay? So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Kelly Stewart, and she'll give you some highlights of what services we provide at the Career Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. So I'm Kelly Stewart, and I am new here. This is month 2, beginning of month 2. So I started back in November, and I'm really excited to be working here. Previously, I worked at the Goodwill Career Center, if any of you have ever utilized any of their services. And I was actually working with a very specific population, those who were incarcerated and getting out of prison. So this is a little different for me because I used to teach in the prisons. So now it's a little different teaching students now. But I'm still very excited to be here. And some of the services that we do offer are those job seeking services where if you're looking for a job and you don't know where to even start with a resume because maybe you've never done one or it's been 20 years since you've done one, that's what we're here to do. And these services are completely free for you guys to use. And I do want to hone in on that, is that this is a free service for you to come and get resume help. And we can sit down at the computer with you, show you where to get started, get you into the system, and then go from there. And then maybe you don't know exactly what you want to do or what field you want to particularly get into, and we can show you how to look that up online, where to search for jobs, where to go on your career paths, look at the labor market and know what is even available here in this area or maybe in another area that you may want to move to later on. Because this is a statewide service, so you don't just have to be here and looking for jobs here if you want to go somewhere else. We help with interview skills if you want to sit down and do a mock interview, because maybe you've never done an interview before, it's been a long time. And just ask those questions that you may not know about. I mean, whenever I graduated from Western Carolina University, and I remember utilizing their career services as well whenever I was getting ready to graduate. I was going into, my field, and I didn't know where to begin with a resume because it's just not something that's really taught. At least I wasn't taught how to do it in high school or really throughout college much. So it's just a really good service to have. And then specifically what I do, so when you walk into the Career Center, you'll see Stacy. I wish you could say your smiling face, but under the mask, she is always smiling. And that's who you'll see and initially get acquainted with. But then I also do the WIOA program, and I'm still learning a little bit more about that. But basically, if you needed help, it is income-based, but if you needed help with some grant funding and some money to be able to go into a field of work, let's say a popular one right now is childhood education. So let's say you wanted to go into that, but maybe you weren't able to afford it or you needed just a little bit of help with that, then that is something that we would be able to help assist you with and get you through the class and then help you get into that field when you complete the class. So that's the purpose of the WIOA. So please, word of mouth is critical, and especially on social media and in this virtual world that we're in now. So if you do know people that could benefit from that program or benefit from NCworks, please help us spread the word to let people know that this is a service. And it's not just for students, it's for anyone in the community, young, old, whoever needs our services, that's who we're here to provide for. Some NC Commerce partners, there's the unemployment office, and with COVID, when that hit, of course there were a lot of people that were unemployed. There's still a lot of people still unemployed in North Carolina. So they have somebody I mean, we're not the unemployment office, so you don't come and we don't really answer any questions about that, but we do have another woman there that can help maybe answer some questions and help you get on that process as well. So, Stacey, did I miss anything for NCworks?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right, well, let's go ahead and get going into the resumes and interviews. You want me to? Oh, okay, thank you. So you guys tell me, what do you know about resumes? Right now, at this time in your life, what do you know about resumes? Without looking at the sheet.
They introduce you.
Huh?
They introduce you to somebody. They tell them your skills.
Yes.
So it's an introduction, I guess.
Yes, very good. It's an introduction. How many of you guys have a resume? Okay. I can't really, okay, one person in the regard class? Okay. All right, well, awesome. And we hope to see you guys here soon then, if you'll be, on your career path whenever you're done here. So with resumes, it is a selling tool. Exactly what the lady said in the back, that it is how you introduce yourself. It's how you introduce your skills and experience. And you can make a resume even if you've never had a legit job before, whether you volunteered or whether you worked at a mom and pop place or did dishes somewhere or whatever it is. You can really make a resume out of nothing. And I mean, like in my previous job, I was helping people that spent 40 years inside a prison make a resume. So if you think that you may not have the skills and abilities, you do. And that is what we're here to do, is to help you find those skills and abilities and put them onto paper and make it look professional in how you sell yourself. Because that is what an employer is going to see first. They're going to see your resume, they're going to see your application. I mean, an application is definitely a lot more detailed, but with a resume, they spend maybe like 15 to 30 seconds looking at it. So I can tell you, they're not sitting there reading every single detail, but what jumps out at the page to them is what is going to make the difference between you and then somebody else that's applying for the job. Because with COVID, there's still over 1 million people still unemployed in North Carolina. And we don't know what that looks like here in the next few months, but you've got a lot of people all applying for jobs right now. So the competition is a little bit high. And with business and, with the unemployment rates, you guys know that when the unemployment rate is higher, it's more competitive. And even whenever it's lower, it's not, 3% like it was earlier this year or even this time last year. So that does make things a little bit difficult, but we can show you how to put yourself above all of the other people that are applying for the same job that you are. So there's 2 different types of resumes. There's a chronological resume and then a functional resume. So if you go ahead and flip the page and look at the 2 examples right here, and this is preference. There's not, like a set one that you have to have or a set one that an employer likes more. It's really about you, about your past history, and really a preference. So with a chronological, just like how it sounds, it lays out your chronological work history. So you worked at this place from this year to this year, and this place from this year to this year. But then a functional resume, it lays out all of your skills and abilities first, and then it has your work history in there. So my preference is a functional resume. Yes, I have had a steady work history. I worked at Goodwill for 4 years, and then before that, I had other jobs for a few years. But I like functional because it can help show any gaps in employment. So if you have gaps in employment, you haven't worked in a while, maybe you took time off to come to school, or maybe you're young and this, you just haven't really worked. It doesn't make it as obvious, because with a chronological, it's obvious if you haven't worked in 5 years or that you haven't done something in the last few years. But with a functional resume, with the employment history being kind of down here at the bottom, it's not as noticeable. So whether you have gaps in employment or maybe you've jumped around with different jobs, like if you worked at one place for a few months and then another place for a few months or another place for only a year, and you don't want to list that, a functional resume can kind of help cover that up. So does anyone have any questions yet about the 2 different types?
Not a question, Kelly, but I want to say for folks that aren't in the classroom here, these materials are available on the Moodle shell as files attached in this week's shell. So you can pull this up yourself as well. Sorry about that.
No. Yes, ma'am.
I guess I kind of have a chronological
Hmm?
resume right now. But you think I should switch then to the functional since if I'm gonna be out of the workforce for 2 years, or would I continue on with my chronological and then just put the education on top?
It's your preference. Education normally always goes on the bottom, but if you do decide to go with a chronological resume and you have gaps in employment, you have to be able to make up for that time. Because most likely you will be asked about it, and when we get to interviews, that's something we'll talk about a little bit more. But employers they ask about gaps. They're like, what have you been doing the last couple years? And of course, it's perfectly acceptable to say that you've been in school, you took time off to go to school, but what else were you doing during that time? Kind of deal. So that's where, like I said, it is preference, but you also should be prepared for those questions to come up later. And then also another thing with resumes, with dates. So another way to kind of help cover stuff up, and in this day and age, it really is all about how you word things. So let's say maybe you're older, or even being younger and not having work experience or enough that you feel like would be beneficial to the job. Instead of putting actual years, you can just put like 3 years. So you can say that you worked somewhere for however many years, but they won't know that you haven't worked in 2 years. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
And so it kind of helps cover that up, because we have people that are retired and they come in and they want a part-time job, or they're bored and they want something to do with their time, but then they're worried that they're going to be discriminated against because they don't want an employer to see that they're in their 60s. You know what I mean? And same with even younger people. Because I felt like, whenever I got my first job out of college, it was scary. Because I'm like, well, I'm going up against all these people that have all this work experience, and all I have is a degree. Because we all see it when we're applying for jobs. They want a degree and 3 years experience. So what do you do if you don't have experience? So it's a little hard, and it can be challenging, but it's doable, and you can definitely do it. So if you have those questions, that's where we're able to help. You can cover up those dates and kind of cover some things up if you're a little worried about your past, work history and things like that. Some helpful resume details. I always tell people common sense is not common to everyone. So, maybe you know this information, but the person sitting next to you may not, or a family member may not, or a sibling or a friend of yours may not know this information. But of course, like resumes, they're never handwritten. They're always done on a computer, and in the NCworks system, we have templates. There's Word documents that you can make, and there's templates out there to be able to properly know where to put all your information on a resume. It is very brief. It is very to the point. And it should be one page. I've been on interview panels and seen resumes, and some of them are like 5, 6, 7 pages. Remember when I said at the beginning that an employer spends maybe 30 seconds looking at them? If you've got a 5-page resume, it's probably been thrown out. They probably didn't even look at it. And a lot of the times nowadays, they let computer systems kind of do the screening for them before an actual person even ever sees your resume. And the same thing with applications too. So you want to make sure that your resume is that one page. You have action verbs describing the things that you've done in your past. And of course, those are all on here as well. And some other helpful resume tips, you want to take your time doing this. Making a resume is not something that's usually done in like 10 minutes. And also, finding a job is a job. It is absolutely a job to go out and find one. It's not like you just walk into a store and get hired on the spot anymore. That's not how it's done. And by putting applications in online, creating a resume, that's like a whole day type deal sometimes. We work with people in the center for hours making a resume, making it right. And you can always, if you don't have time, I even had someone email me their resume and I looked it over and sent back tips. So even if you don't feel comfortable maybe coming into the center, we can do things virtually as well. Whatever we need to do to be able to help you guys. And same thing with the Trans-Pennine County campus. There's an NCworks there, but they're willing to do that too. And use job postings to your advantage. This absolutely helps you get noticed online. So whenever you're looking on NCworks, or you're looking on Indeed. Indeed is another really good employment platform that you can look for work in. So when you see a job description and it's stating these are all the things that you have to do in the job, or maybe you're looking, you're like, oh, I did that in my last job, or I did this in my last job. You can, don't just copy and paste it and put it on your resume or in your application, but use that to your advantage, because most of the time with those online systems, that's what they're looking for. Like, those are the words that they're looking for. That's the experience that they're looking for. So when online systems are doing that screening before a real life person is looking at it, I absolutely encourage you to use those job postings to your advantage. And it's okay to have a generalized resume. So let's say that, like I've been in this office type work and case management for the last few years. So I made my resume to reflect that. I didn't put like my waitressing experience on there, or, like my campus tours that I did whenever I was at Western. So it's like relevancy most of the time. And if you do have an extensive work history, or if you have been working for a long time, or you switched careers, you can make it relevant to the job that you're applying for. So some people do have 3 or 4 different resumes because, if I wanted to go be a waitress again, I would make a resume based off of my customer service experience. And then I have this resume that I had for my case management experience. And then also I have just a generalized resume too, with kind of a little bit of everything on there. And so don't apply to every job posting within the same company. A lot of people don't always think about this, and I like to give the example like at Lowe's. There's how many different departments at Lowe's? I don't know anything about chopping wood. I don't know anything about paint. I don't know anything about appliances. I just wouldn't be good in those departments at Lowe's. So it would be bad of me to sit there and apply for every single position that Lowe's has available. And usually those online systems will kick you out. Mm-hmm. If you apply for more than like 3 positions within a company, and I've had employers tell me that, because it looks kind of desperate, doesn't it? And it just, can we do everything? No, as much as we want to, we can't. And so be mindful of those little things, and, because it's important to know just these little things are what get people kicked out of, these online applications and not getting a job because they just don't know. And, even when you're filling out applications, most of the time they're not even paper ones anymore, but let's say you write in pink ink instead of black ink. They toss it. If you can't read it, they toss it. So little things like that get people kicked out of the system or kicked out of the application process so quickly. And then you're sitting there wondering like, well, what am I doing wrong? Or like, why am I not getting a job, or this or that? And sometimes you have to sit back and reflect and say, well, what have I done wrong? Did I write in pink ink instead of black ink? Or did I make a mistake? Or, whatever it is. And one good thing about online applications is that usually it doesn't let you make mistakes. It won't let you move on, or it won't let you go forward if you mess something up. So that is kind of a benefit. But it's important to just be mindful. And that just goes back to taking your time while you're job searching. Because it takes time. It's not something that usually happens, overnight. Don't give away your age with showing dates. We talked about that. Creating your personal brand, and that's something that you can do in person and virtually. But right now, networking events aren't a really big thing because of COVID. So creating your personal brand online through LinkedIn, your social media, whatever it may be, is also important as well, because employers are looking at that. And then understanding the labor market and the in-demand services that are going on right now. So past tense action verbs. So of course, when you're writing your resume, it is past tense. So what have you done in your past? What kind of work experience do you have? And if you supervise people, these are those action verbs to use at the beginning of your sentence with the bullet points. How were you part of a team? How did you make something? How did you evaluate something? And this is for you guys to keep, of course, so definitely use this to your advantage. Personal descriptors, describing yourself. And also, let's jump down to what to include in a portfolio. So this is important for you guys to go ahead and start creating. So whenever you get your resume together, when you get your cover letter together, what other type of stuff do you need going into your job interviews and being prepared. So maybe a letter of recommendation from a past employer or even a teacher. Like if you're coming out of school, that's something good that you guys can have. The job description for the job that you've applied for, copies of your resume, copies of your cover letter, maybe any certificates that you may have. So, when I was first applying for jobs, any type of awards or things that I got while I was in school, I definitely presented those. Parts of any publications you provided assistance with, if you developed anything in your past job, any type of work that you may have, just to put it in a portfolio. Because a lot of times on those applications online, it'll ask like, well, do you want to upload this document or upload any certificates or upload this? And that just puts you above all the other people that aren't doing it. So like I was going back to with all the people that are still applying for jobs right now in the state of North Carolina, you want to put yourself up above and beyond everybody else that's applying for the same job. So that means having a cover letter. That means putting in those certificates. That means, making yourself shine to make yourself look better than the other applicants. So who needs a cover letter? Yes, everybody right now definitely needs a cover letter. And a cover letter is basically just a paragraph form of your resume. And it just goes a little bit more into detail about your skills, your experience, the things that you did, all the positive things that you did in your past jobs. And that's in paragraph form, and we can also help you with that as well. Professional references. This is just always good for you guys to go ahead and have. References never go on a resume, but they do go on applications most of the time, and then that's another thing that you can put into your portfolio to be prepared for the interview. Does anyone have any questions about resumes? Yes, ma'am. No, you're fine.
The portfolio, you basically build a portfolio and have the information ready for when they ask for it, or is it something that?
It's just always good to have. Whether they ask for it, whether you want to present it, because when things start going back to normal and you're at networking events, whether here or at a job fair, because we, not right now, but hopefully later on we'll be holding more job fairs where you can actually come in and speak to an employer directly, have it with you. Because guess what? I can guarantee you the 10 other people won't have one. So it's really just about being prepared and making that statement to the employer that you're prepared, that you've, worked hard for this. Like those first impressions are so critical whenever you're applying for work. Because even with my time at Goodwill, I've known Stacy for the last 5 years. And that was just from networking events, getting to know each other. And guess what? When this job opened up, she was the first person to call me saying, hey, this position opened up, you should apply for it. So that's a part of networking, because she knew me. She saw me public speak in other places, and this is a little different because I haven't done it with a mask before. This is my first time. But it's just always good to have with you. And another little piece of advice when you're job searching, keep a job search report, because if you were to come into the lab and spend hours applying for jobs, or even at home applying for jobs, or you're on your phone and you're on Indeed and you're just, I applied for this job, I applied for this job, keep record of the jobs that you've applied for, because what if an employer calls you and you're like, oh crap, I don't even remember applying to this job. Embarrassing, but I've done it. Years ago, not anytime recent, but when I was first applying for jobs, I was just throwing it out there, throwing my applications out there, throwing my resumes out there. And then if an employer called me and I didn't remember even applying to that specific job, and they're sitting there asking me questions over the phone, it doesn't make me look good. So keep a job search report whenever you are applying for jobs, and keep record of all the places that you've applied for.